Amen.
Mad.
Jeez. Yo.
We are live, as I'm Sam, Mr. Blitztech.
Grabbing your GS.
And today is that day for Devil May Cry, Season 2, Episode 6. We've been going on an absolute roller coaster with this season. There's been some ups and downs, but so far I've been enjoying it thus far. And we're coming to the end, so I'd definitely like to see how they're going to conclude this utter madness. What are you saying, though?
Yeah, man. Good season. You know, these two lovebirds, Lady and Dante, you know, just evolving. Last episode, they got to play dad, mom. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it was good seeing him turn into the devil. So, yeah, man, let's just see what this guy is saying this week.
But what are you guys saying in the comments, though?
Yeah, we've got man like pop culture guru.
Come on.
So apparently, Chi, the girl who works for Arius, is supposed to be a clone of Lucia, who we saw last season. In the video games, Lucia was actually an artificial demon created by Arius, but apparently for the show, Arius used Lucia after she was arrested to create Chi and the rest of her clones.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, what ever happened to her? Because obviously, like I said, they showed her in Season 1. I was like, oh yeah, look, there's Lucia. And then, obviously, her looking the same, so I thought, did they brainwash her? But the fact that it's just a clone. And I hope that Lucia does come back, because, like, right now, we've only got Lady. We still need to see Trish. Like I said, Lucia is also a lady of the Devil May Cry series. Even though she doesn't really come back after 2, it will be interesting to see if she does. But like I said, there's like bare characters I feel like they can keep introducing to open up the world. So, yeah, I hope by the end of the season that, I don't know, they do something with that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to like show characters and develop the characters. Obviously, if in the game is a bit different from here, but I like that adaptation that you explained in pop culture, because it just shows how deep Arius is within the government and what they're running, you know, behind closed doors, and now they're using soldiers that used to work for the government to now do his bidding. So yeah, man, hey, it's great, man.
The only issue I have with that is that if you're not into Devil May Cry, though, that means absolutely nothing to you. Like, it's actually even not confusing, but it's like it does nothing to the lore because they've not explained it here who Lucia was and why she was cloned, so to speak.
Right.
Well, for now anyway. That's why I'm like, they've kind of more or less fleshed out or said things here and there. I'm like, oh, there's a reason for XYZ, but even then I'm like, me knowing who these characters are, I'm like, you've not like even told fans, so to speak. So like I said, I hope they do clear that up, especially when they're introducing characters or even showing characters, because bosses, they're like kind of throwaway. I've seen bosses from 1 all the way through 5. I'm still waiting for bosses to still show up, and their backstory, unless they're like someone like Mundus, doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things because they're just pawns anyway. But if you are going to use characters in your like mainline story, especially if you're cloning them, that deserves some kind of explanation.
True.
Let's dive into episode 6 and see what's going on.
Let's rock.
Hey, tough episode.
Nah, man. Nah, that was a good one, man. Especially with what we was talking at the beginning, like Arius' background, him have like obviously being the puppeteer master, but now like having more context how he became to be, and like even his power levels and stuff like that. Which now I'm wondering, like, Roy, like, is Mundus gonna be able to take on this guy?
No, it's not for Mundus to take out.
But his previous thing took out. Wait, no, Mundus and the other guys took out this powerful being. So he's coming back for Mundus, no? Nah?
Well, also, I don't know how it plays out, but in the game, you take out all these gods. This is what I mean. That for me, I just feel that this is Dante and Vergil's job to take out Arius to stop Argosax from coming out. Obviously, them separate is what is kind of making them like weak to not do that kind of thing. But Argus can still get it. That's why I feel like after they've done that and make sure that Argosax, or maybe he does because there's still 2 episodes left, so I don't know if my man still gets released. But Mundus is not involved. I don't like, because then that kind of defeats the point of even Argosax or Arius even being a threat in the first place, because obviously time and time again, Dante and Vergil go up against this guy, they lose separately. They always take him on separately. And obviously we've seen his power levels, we've seen what he can do. So in that aspect, it is kind of hard to be like, what can they actually do even together? But that's, for me, going to be the best thing about it, where it's like, they really thought of that, and that's how you defeat him. But if you get Mundus to go up against him as well, then it's like, then Vergil will also then stick with Mundus, and then it'll be Dante versus Vergil. But then Dante then can't beat Mundus because Mundus beat Argosax. And then them two together beat, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't make
like,
sense.
I guess Mundus is more like just setting up Vergil to like be in this world, and then obviously the backstory and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Even then, like, we all know that like Virgil's been lied to, so we also know that there has to be a reason for Vergil to also go up against Mundus as well. I was also believing like season 3, but I also would thought that Baines would have still been around, to be honest, because the way he was talking about like God and stuff and whatever, there would have been quite interesting take to see why he's like that. And is there like a faction that is hell-bent on like being like godly and stuff, but is actually presented by devils? That's what I would have thought would have been quite, because they do that in the number 4. Like in number 4, you think you're near at this point, you're going to a church, the church is praying, tear. And then Dante comes in and is basically killing everybody in this church. And you're like, as the player, you're like, wow, Dante don't turn bad. Not knowing that the demons are basically like, oh, we praise ourselves or make us look like angels, and we get the humans on our side. We can basically infiltrate that way through. Yeah. And then the story turns in the head is like, no, like, Dante basically kind of knew what was going on and was trying to stop it. Yeah. So that's why I thought it would be kind of interesting to see Baines being like that, where it's like, oh, yeah, repent this, do that. You're like, bro, why are you so like this? And we know that obviously you are trying to fight demons, but like, what is giving you those ideas? And obviously we're hearing that somewhat that good or gods don't exist. It's only just demons running it, which I think is such a lame way to put it. It's always like, there has to be like, even Invincible did it as well. When they did that episode, it was like, oh, there's only Satan and hell. There is no other. I'm like, then that doesn't, in any kind of sense, that makes 0 sense. So you're telling me that whoever's down below, Satan and whatever, they're just fighting for that. There's no opposing faction. So it's like, why would there be good, so to speak? How do you come to that conclusion of fighting for something when...
Yeah, where the idea came. Yeah,
your ideology is everything. Where's that come from? So
no, I hear that, man. I hear that. Especially like, come to think about it now, like since the first season, we was asking like, yo, what is this guy on? Like, why is he, on this whole godly stuff? And like, and come to think about it, I agree. Like, especially when we're getting the backstory of 600 years ago. Like, well, something must have started back then that maybe gets passed on to you, that you're still fighting, these battles, because like we even see my man, like when he's going after the artifacts, he presents like gold to a king and then he murks him. Like, it'd have been good to be like, oh, the king is on the opposite side, same side as him, and then like, oh, you just didn't know, so he murked you. So over your failed missions, you get to learn like who's the ops, who's not, and then today you get him to do the bidding for you until the last day where you got him. Like, that would have been a bit more concise with the story and open it up. So yeah, man, I hear you on that, but I guess there's only so much they could have given us. But good episode, man. I really want to see how they're gonna turn out, because he's looking way too strong, bro.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. Like, he's seeming a bit too strong. Obviously, he lost an arm, so to speak, but then now that you've leveled him up again, it's almost like they're constantly leveling. It's not like he was ever weak. They're constantly like leveling him up, so it's almost like I do understand that. Yeah, Dante and Virgil together is way stronger than them being apart. Cool, but even that I'm like, really though? Because I don't know if they're that strong. I'm trying to beat this guy at this point in time. I don't know about that. That seems to be mad to me.
Virgil's nice, but not that nice. And we've seen him go one-on-one. He got smacked up.
Exactly. So unless, like I said, they make those two pull something out of the bag, I don't know, them two both go devil. Which is what this is also the thing I find interesting about this episode as well, where he's saying is basically agents of chaos is what Argosax wants, which Dante is. And it's kind of funny because almost everyone that's red that you're seeing is basically chaos. And then Virgil's the one wearing blue, and he's saying Bane's is, you're the guy that like order, you want to kind of, you're the other people that kind of keep order kind of thing. So that's why I was like, then is Mundus, because he looks like God anyway, or depicted like God or Jesus, is Mundus the one that is the agent of order then? Because then that would allude to Virgil being that, which alludes to Virgil's devil being blue, so to speak. And I'm like, then, but that's what I'm saying, that would have been a good full circle if Baines was praying to someone like Mundus, looking like what we believe what God looks like in our reality or whatever. So, but I hope, like I said, I hope they do touch on that, because they laid out the groundwork. They do very good with law and stuff, but this episode is like, it's the first time I'm seeing like bare questions. Like, you're saying a lot of stuff, but now I'm like, yeah, you lost me a little bit here. I hope that they patch it a little bit.
Yeah, that does make sense, especially when they took Argus out back in the day. So
I thought that was mad though. I was like, something that you made took you out, even though it was a surprise attack. Cool, but they're saying you are that demon basically. I'm like, bro, then you made something stronger than you, even by surprise attack. That's like saying Dante can kill Sparta. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that happening, even by sneak attack. Or in fact, you should say the one that's more serious, Virgil. Virgil killing Sparta. I'm like, bro,
you guys definitely need to touch on that, bro. Explain it.
I thought that was context crazy. Because like, you didn't see him in a depowered state. Or, in fact, you saw him like absorbing people or about to or whatever.
Maybe that's how they take him out. Because you see how Mundus took him out with the other guys. So maybe Virgil being under Mundus and then Virgil having his power set, them two kind of combining, even though in the past it was like 6 of them who took out Sparta. Not Sparta.
I believe they were all the same. They really showed their fate. They only showed one that kind of died, but I feel like they were all Mundus.
Okay.
So the final Mundus is the one that kind of killed him.
Okay.
Which is, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just so we're looking at it, because we're seeing Mundus now. My man is huge, and then when they're like doing it against, in fact, they did kind of show, because when the sword fell, it went boom. I was like, what was it? Something like that. So maybe in the context of things, they are like the same size.
Yeah.
And obviously they're just depicting it as what we're seeing as like human size or whatever. But I was like, is Mundus that more powerful to take you out? Or like saying you need like 6 of him to take out, which would make more sense. Like, you needed 6 Munduses to take out that main demon guy. So I was like, wow, one Mundus, that makes like 0 sense.
Guess there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, man. The episode was decent. I liked the stuff they went through. But guys, let us know in the comments down below what you feel about today's episode. And yeah, man, we're always there. And we'll see you in the next one. I'm Sam, Mr. Blitztech.
We're in the GS. Peace.
What happened? Nothing happened. Nothing except for the war. Too many people died in this land. All that pain forced me to grow up.
What does that mean?
That even innocent, foolish children will grow up in the face of pain.